Well, we are now going to finish with our fire cider because
Fire cider weather!
it's fire cider weather. It has been about 6 weeks, or no, I think it's been over 6
Just
weeks
over, yeah.
that we had made our fire cider. And also to note, there is different ways to make fire cider, but this is the way that we have learned to process it here at home. And so far, even though we were waiting these 6 weeks, you know, none of us really got sick or anything like that, but it's just really good to have it on hand.
Yes.
So 6 weeks ago, we did the beginning of making the fire cider, which
Yes.
you can go back and look right there. And now we're going to show you what we do to process. We've allowed it to sit, and it's not really a ferment, but it's just the vinegar is pulling all of the medicinal properties out of all of the fruits and vegetables that we've put in here and spices. So what is our process?
Our process will be quite simple. So we're going to blend everything that's inside of the jar. I like to get it to a smoothie-like texture or like a blended soup-like texture. And then I process it through a nut milk bag. This is the way that I strain it really finely. So that way we're only getting the liquid and then the pulp is left in here.
Right, and then we throw that in the compost.
Yes.
But one of the things that you told me earlier today is that with your nut bags, you actually turn them inside out.
Yes.
Because there is this seam here, and so food and stuff gets caught in that, and so she just uses it reverse way.
Yeah.
This is our soup blender from the Pampered Chef. It's an absolutely fantastic blender. I used it for making the tomato sauce a few weeks ago, and also used it for making my tomato soup, which you can see right here. And I actually, after I had roasted the bones, I took all the meat off of them, and then I actually put it through the blender, and it just made this beautiful almost like a thick gravy. And so we actually kept all the nutrients by using such a high-powered blender. All right, so let's get started.
Sounds good. I can smell this one.
It tastes awful, but it works. So we just stick it all in there.
Everything goes in, including the cinnamon stick. Like our blender is fine to handle the cinnamon stick, and because it's been sitting in the apple cider vinegar, it's broken down quite a bit. Our lid goes on, and then it's just a case of blending.
And how long are you blending this for?
I usually blend for about a minute on a smoothie feature, or I'll blend for like about a minute and a half. And I do it in stages, so I'll start with like one and move my way up. Alright, so we've blended the fire cider, and now we have this very smooth soup sort of consistency. Would you mind holding in that milk bag?
I will.
Okay. This always does do better with another person, and I'm left-handed, so I'm going to do it with the good hand that I have. Alright.
Can I go ahead and...
Yeah. So with this, you can either spend the time, and if you're okay with getting your hands a little bit orange from the turmeric in our recipe, you can spend the time massaging it, pulling all of the liquid out. But the other way that I do things so that way I can continue on with kitchen things is I actually hang it from our cupboard door.
Oh yeah, and you know how to do fancy knots.
Some.
And then we'll just let that drip out. And then the next will be adding in the honey.
Correct. Yeah.
And now, there are some fire ciders that I've seen where they put all their fruit and spices in, and then they cover it in honey, and they put just a little bit of apple cider vinegar in. But that is a lot of honey, and if you are going to blend it, you're putting it through the nut bag, so you actually choose to add the honey afterwards. Just because honey is very expensive, and so this way all of the honey is going right into it. So like I said, there is many different ways to do fire ciders, and so this version is kind of how we have adapted for, you know, our budget and our home and for the size of our family.
We're working with the last little bit of the fire cider in the nut milk bag. I'm just going to squeeze it around and try to get as much of the liquid out as possible. I usually try to keep a cloth on hand or something like that because turmeric can stain things. So we're almost there, and then we're gonna put it back in the blender with some honey.
That was easy.
Yes, very much so. So all of the liquid that has come out of the nut milk bag is in here, and we're gonna add it back to the blender. And then I add the honey directly into the blender, because I find that when I whip the honey inside of the fire cider, even if it stays in the fridge, it doesn't actually separate.
Oh, okay.
And so then you're less likely to have to shake it or anything like that. Really recommended to try to use like your local honey, raw honey, for the medicinal benefits. So I do have some honey here, and I'm just gonna add it. Now I do add anywhere between about a half a cup. If it's really bitter, I'll add like a full cup to it. But
I think that you should be adding 2 cups for your mom.
This is true. I've actually heard from a couple of people that they prefer it very, very sweet. I like to keep it a little bit more medicinal, and then you can add more honey if you want to. So.
And so it's kind of a honey to taste,
Yes.
sort of thing.
Yeah, and some people actually like to just leave the fire cider as is, and then what they'll do is they'll add the honey as they want it.
Right, which is what I actually do, is I take the honey infused fire cider and add more honey to mine. I'm just gonna remove all of our waste from the bag because we do have another one. Oh, I can smell the oranges really nice. So this is all great pulp that'll just go right into my compost bin.
One thing to note with the nut milk bags, in order to clean them, I actually boil them, and I'll boil them over the course of a couple of days with some baking soda. I try not to put soap on them because it is an unbleached cloth, this type specifically. So I want to keep that and not be putting extra things that we don't need in our bodies.
Right, and it is like this is stained. This is yellow because we've made fire cider in the past.
Yeah, and that it will stay the fire cider bag, and that's it.
Yeah. So now we're gonna whiz this up again. Hey, that's looking good. It just looks. It looks like it's like a beautiful orange juice.
Yeah.
But it doesn't taste like it.
No, not at all. But we'll deal with it. So
we're just gonna pour it right back into the jar that it was in. And you can store it in the fridge. We'll probably store it in our larder because it is a very cold room. But you don't have to. You can keep it out.
yeah, you could keep it out.
But it's a little tastier when it's colder.
For sure.
So now we do have these kinds of lids, but we also have purchased
These pour spouts. So when we're just storing it, we tend to use these flat lids. They are leak-proof, and it is plastic. You sadly don't want to use metal because it's quite corrosive. I have tried with parchment paper underneath, and it still just goes through.
So do the investment and get the plastic ball lids.
And then we do have this pour spout when we're storing it in the fridge. Then we use this lid so that way it's easier to pour out into a glass.
Excellent.
Yeah. So Mom and I had this idea that we were going to maybe just use this handy blender, whip everything real good, including the honey like you saw previously, and see if we could maybe leave it from the straining or not strain it, and see if people will take it that way. So we're just going to experiment with 1 jar at the moment. So what I have here is just the remaining amount because I do it in 2. Makes it a little bit easier. The honey has already been placed in here, and I did put a little bit of water as well, just to give it a little bit of thinning, and then we're just going to whip this.
So what are you going to do to blend? Because this had the honey and then that doesn't.
No, both of them actually have honey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Yeah, it does. It is thick, but I think once it's in the fridge, it'll be nice to drink. It'll be kind of like a cold smoothie. But here's our fire cider. Let's do a taste test.
Okay, what are we going to start with?
Let's start with the hard one.
This has not been strained.
No.
Honey added, blended,
Yeah.
but it's thick, so.
To your health.
Ooh.
That's not bad.
No, it's tolerable.
Yeah.
Better if it was cold.
Yeah.
Okay?
Do you want to do the cumin?
No, let's do it last.
All right.
The cumin one smells amazing. So this is just regular? Oh. Oh, not enough honey.
Wow. It's actually good.
No, it's really vinegary for me.
I found that one a little bit more spicy, but not bad.
Yeah, it definitely has more of the cayenne pepper.
Yeah, for sure.
In there. And no, this is the cumin one, so it really smells like cumin. A little bit of Mexico.
That one added a lot of honey too.
Oh, okay.
Because I knew you were gonna want the cumin.
No, that's very good. All right, so we have 3 different kinds. We've got more fire cider that's in the larder right now that probably in the next 2 weeks, I think. And then I think another 2 weeks or a week later that we'll be processing, because we do go through it quite a bit. So anyway, so that is how we process fire cider.
Fire cider weather.
Fire cider weather. So thank you, Merissa, for showing us how to go through the whole process. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Take care and God bless.